Hello friends, welcome back. I am Rajneesh and this session is about network interface bonding. Network interface bonding simply means that you are bonding multiple NICs into a single virtual NIC. In this lab setup, we'll be using two NICs, ETH0 and ETH1 of this VM so that effectively they will behave as a single interface bond 0. Now we need to define what kind of bonding should it be. So there are multiple kind of modes that are supported, but in this lesson we are going to understand the two basic modes which are generally used in any environment. One is mode 0, which says round robin. As you all might be knowing, round robin means send first packet to ETH0, then second to ETH1, then ETH0, ETH1, and the traffic will be sent in this way. In case ETH0 goes down, so no traffic will be sent to ETH0, it will be sent to ETH1 only. So here is how the traffic will go through in case ETH0 goes down. So in case ETH1 is down and ETH0 is okay, the traffic will flow in this way. So this supports failover. Any of the interfaces down, other interface will be used for sending the traffic. Mode 1 means active backup. It means that even in case both the interfaces are up, the traffic will be sending only through one interface at a particular instance of time. For example, ETH0 and ETH1 both are up, but the traffic will be flowing through the primary interface that has been specified on it. For example, it's flowing through ETH0. Traffic is all flowing. ETH1 is also up. So as soon as ETH0 goes down, the traffic will start flowing from ETH1. So mode 1 means the traffic will be flowing only through one interface at a time. So that's why it's known as active, and other one is the backup. Round robin mode 0 means traffic will first flow through ETH0, then second through ETH1, and in the same way. In case one of the NIC is down, so traffic will flow only through the other NIC. So both support failover. One says the traffic will be passing through both the interfaces one at a time. So let us see how we implement it on RHEL 6. For that, let me create a few sessions. Okay, in the first case we are going to use mode 0, which is round robin. So all the network interface related configuration files are present in /etc sysconfig network scripts and if cfg-ethx. For example, this is the configuration details of ETH0 interface, the device, boot proto, and all these details. And if we type the command if config ETH0, we will see that the details are matching the same. IP address is 192.168.1.205, net mask, and other details. Okay. Okay. So if config command is displaying only ETH0 interface, not ETH1. The reason is ETH1 is presently down. So if config ETH1 can be used to display the details of ETH1, its MAC address and hardware address and other details. So right now let's create a configuration file for if CFG ETH1. If CFG ETHX is the file used by ETHX interface when it's brought up or when it is on the way of getting up. So the operating system looks into the configuration file for this NIC and brings it up with the parameters that we specify in it. So let me create two copies of it. ETH if CFG ETH0 will have the details of interface in ETH0, how it is to be brought up. It will have details of ETH1, and bone 0 will be corresponding to the bone interface that we are creating. First thing that we have to look into is the IP address is not required to be specified on the real interfaces. 1 minute. I think I should change setting. Let me bring down the size to 14. Now we have the complete visibility on this window, right? So okay, so these are the details of ETH0 interface. We have to say ETH0 that you have to attach to the bone interface bone 0. For that we'll have to use a variable which is master bone 0, which says my master is bone 0. I have to attach to bone 0. Other variable will be slave equal to yes. Yes, it is going to act as a slave for bone 0. And the IP address details should be commented or deleted because the IP address will be specified in bone 0 interface. Now coming on to ETH1, repeat the same thing. Remove IP ADDR, netmask and gateway. The device will be ETH1, boot proto none, NM controls no, boot proto yes, on boot yes, and master equal to bone 0, slave equal to yes. Okay, one more thing, UUID is unique, so just delete this part. This is not mandatory. Bone 0, this is unique corresponding to interface, so delete it. Now if we talk about bone 0 interface, first of all the device name will be bone 0, boot proto none, hardware address. Just comment it or remove it, and IPADDR netmask gateway have specified. So the other important thing is bonding octs, which will be, it means that when we are creating the bonding interface bone 0, what should be the attributes or assigned to it. Actually bonding is a module which will be loaded with particular attributes, whether it has to work in round robin fashion or it has to work in active backup mode. Here are the variables that we specify to it. So one important thing is modes. First example is for mode 0 and other is mi mon. So for how, after how many milliseconds should it monitor a particular NIC, whether it's up or down, and bring up or ask the other interface to send the traffic through. Let's mark it as 100 millisecond, which will be 1/10 of second. So okay, one more thing or the mistake that we did was ETH1 as the hardware address is corresponding to ETH0 because we copied it from ETH0. Let me just copy the hardware address. However, it's not mandatory, you can comment it. Okay, so now we have prepared ETH0, ETH1 and Bone0 interface. Let me try to restart networking. Okay, now if I see to the if config, ETH0 doesn't have any IP address associated with it. The same happens with ETH1, and the IP address is assigned to Bone0 interface. That's fine. So this is the file cat procnet bonding bone0 that has the details of how the bonding module is loaded for bone0, which are the interfaces associated with it. So let me just try to open it in a refreshing mode for every 0.1 second. So Ethernet channel bonding driver is v3.6 that was compiled on 2009. Bonding mode is load balancing. Why? Because, okay, let me open a duplicate session. Okay, okay. This is in load balancing or round robin fashion. Why? Because we have specified mode 0 in bonding opts in if CFG bone 0. MIS status, whether the bonding interface is up or not. Polling interval, polling each NICs after 100 millisecond or 1/10 of second. Why? Because we have specified in bonding opts. Next, coming on to slave interface. So we specified two slave interfaces, ETH0 and ETH1. Okay, I'll show you where did we specify it. Here is the variable slave equal to yes, master equal to bone 0, told ETH0 that you have to attach to bone 0 interface, and slave said you are marked as slave on it. So that's why it's displaying slave interface over here for ETH0 and ETH1. MIS status means the interface is up or down, the speed of the ETH0 interface, duplex or not, the MAC address, and the failure counts. Now, right now you can see that it's in round robin fashion, so there is no slave. The traffic is flowing one by one through both the interfaces. Now you would like to see the impact when one of the interface or the one of the real interface goes down. I'll open a command prompt and ping it 1.205 with -t, so it'll continuously be refreshing itself. Okay, now it's better. Okay, now I'm going to bring down one of the interfaces, and you can see that the ping is still working. Now it displays that ETH1 is now down, but MIS status of this bone interface is still up. One thing is, let me just stop it and start it. Here, it was not interrupted. 0% lost was there, so it's continuously pinging even if one of the interfaces down. Let me just bring the interface up. Oh, sorry, my mistake. Now both the interfaces are down, so it's definitely not able to handle it. Proc net bonding bond 0. I would like to show you one thing. Now the MIS status is down, which simply says that this bonding interface is now down. The reason being ETH0 is down and even ETH1 is down. Let me just try to bring up ETH1, and now it has started pinging. However, ETH0 is still in down state. Let me see if my session is still active. Yes. Duplicate session. Okay, I just opened this window. Now ETH0 is down, but ETH1 is up, so the traffic is continuously flowing without any drop. The drop is there because I brought both the interfaces down. Okay, now let me try to bring up ETH0. You can monitor here that as soon as I bring it up in 1/10 of the second, it will be displayed as up. Here you can see that ETH0 is now up, ETH1 is now up. So this is how you can test out. ETH1 is down, so there is no impact. You are still able to ping this virtual machine. So this is how the load balancing or mode 0 works. Traffic is by default flowing through both. Here you can see that there is no slave, so the traffic is flowing through both. As soon as one of the interface goes down, the traffic will be flowing only through that interface. Okay, now coming on to the second part, which is active backup. Active backup says that traffic will be flowing only through one interface at a particular instance of time, and the other interface, in case it is up, it will still be in a backup mode and it will not be used for flowing the traffic. Let me show you how it works. Sysconfig network scripts if cfg bond 0, and to modify it we will just change the mode equal to 0 to mode equal to 1, and we restart the networking service. Here you will see some difference. Now the ping was dropped because the network was down for small interval of time. Now you can see that the primary slave is none and current active slave through which data is flowing is ETH0, and ETH1 is sitting idle waiting for ETH0 to go down, and then the traffic will be transferred through ETH1. Okay, let us see. If config ETH0 down. Now ETH0, as soon as it gets down, the slave ETH1 becomes the slave and the traffic starts flowing through ETH1. Here ETH0 MI status down and ETH1 is still up, so the traffic is flowing through this and you cannot see any kind of drop over here. Now let me bring up ETH0. Now ETH0 is up, but the traffic is still flowing through ETH1. If you want to mark one as a primary slave, which simply means that that interface is going to be a preferred interface. Okay, what happened right now? ETH0 got down, ETH1 became primary, or ETH1 was used. Even in case ETH0 is brought up, the traffic is still flowing through ETH1. What in case there is a scenario that we rely on ETH0 more, or and we want the traffic to flow in most of the cases through ETH0, we can set an interface as a primary slave. I'll show you. There is an option while loading the module which is primary equal to ETH0. So ETH0 is going to be a preferred interface in case it is up. Let me just restart the networking service. Here, now you can see that the primary slave ETH0 will be used in most of the cases. Okay, let me bring down ETH0 now. Okay, I brought down, the traffic is still flowing, but now the current active slave is ETH1. Now let me try to bring up ETH0. Now here you can see that the current active slave is again ETH1 rather than being ETH0 as it was previously, because ETH0 will now be the preferred interface in case it is up. And at the same time, we were having a look into this ping request and we found that it was not brought down. So if we are talking about active backup mode of bonding, it also supports failover. So none failover, which simply means till the time one of the interface in the bonding is up, there will be no loss of data. Okay, one thing I missed is I would like to show grep bond. So here is the bonding interface. Here is the bonding interface that was loaded to create or to get bond 0 created. And if you want to see what were the attributes that were provided to the bonding interface when it was loading, you can see the file sys modules bonding parameters, and here are some parameters that you can see. So if you want to see the details about any of the bonding parameters that were provided to it while it was brought up, they can be seen in sys module and module name. So we had a look into two kind of bondings that RHEL supports. So it's actually an aggregation of interface, and we define what kind of aggregation it is going to be. Is it going to be round robin? Is it going to be active backup? In case you have any issue, you can refer to the documentation, user share doc IP utils and readme.bonding. Actually it has some more modes which I have not specified because of the lack of time. Here are the modes that you can see: balanced round robin, balance XOR. So we don't generally use these modes. In case you are interested in it, you can read this documentation file. In case you are missing any kind of attribute, you can see the details in this user share doc IP utils and then readme.bonding. So thanks a lot for viewing the video. Have a good day.